Hey guys, the Everyday Vegan here. Tonight, and it is tonight, you can see it's dark outside, so this is a little dinner feature I'm doing. I'm gonna make Pitta pizza. It's a quick little thing that you can do with almost anything as long as you have pita bread, I guess. And tonight I'm going to make a Pitta pizza with, what have I got? I've got mushrooms, I've got a bit of spinach, I've got onions, and I've got a bit of rocket salad there as well, and a little bit of jalapeno and red pepper hummus. So that's what I'm going to pop on there, and I'll let you know how it goes. So there are my ingredients. As you can see, just a few mushrooms, there's sandwich pittas and a bit of salad and stuff like that. Obviously we want to keep it vegan. If you want to make it vegetarian, of course you can pop cheese on there, but as I don't eat any of that stuff, we won't, of course, in this case. So I've got a bit of chopping up to do. As you can see here, I've now chopped everything up. There's a bit of spinach in the corner here, a bit of rocket. I love mushrooms, so I've cut up 2 quite large mushrooms, a bit of onion. There's my pitta, of course, and a little bit of hummus just as a base there. You can, of course, use something like tomato paste as well. I just didn't have any, otherwise that's a nice idea. Or pesto is quite nice as well. Just be careful, a lot of pestos have egg and milk in them, so make sure it's vegan pesto before you go ahead and do that. So let's put stuff on our little pita. So what I would do, and this may be a little bit tricky, I would probably do this without the phone in my hand, just put the base on there, we can garnish it. So here we are. I'm still munching the rest of my hummus there. But that that worked quite well, so I'm going to just garnish that with a few rather large sort of spinach leaves here, just to give it a bit of a green base. And then, you know, you can be quite creative with that sort of stuff. Just chucking some onions on there. I'm a big fan of onions as well. You don't want to overdo it with the onions, otherwise it sort of takes away from the rest of the flavors that you put on there, I guess. But yeah, you know, be creative. A lot of people use sun-dried tomatoes, or tomatoes, or whatever you want to call them. That works really well as well, because they of course have this sort of typical Italian flavor that you want to do. Any roast vegetables will do really well, and I'm just going to put a little bit of, you know, a little bit of rocket over the top there, and hey presto, we've got a nice little mini Pitta pizza, which I will now put into the oven, which has been preheating behind me. You should be seeing it there. And yeah, and then we'll go see how we go there. It should be about 12-15 minutes, but I'm not quite sure. This may go horribly wrong. Hopefully it won't, though. I'll get back to you. So usually I like to eat something green with it, and sometimes I eat fruit, but usually for lunch, so in the dinner I have a bit of salad. So this is actually an organic leaf salad, which I showed you earlier already. It's this one here, Tesco again, tender leaf salad. One thing that I now sort of try and make sure of as well is where this stuff sort of comes from. Because obviously the carbon footprint is quite important as well. A lot of stuff at the moment comes from sort of Spain, Kenya, Egypt or something, but this has actually been grown in East Anglia, which is where I live, so it's very, very close to home, which makes me feel good about it. And all I've done is I've put a little bit of sort of balsamic vinegar on it, and a little bit of that trusted olive oil, very, very easy. And I'm going to put a bit of salt and pepper, my 2 friends there, on that as well, just to spice that up. And then let's have a look at the pita. It's in there. It's been in there for about only 3 minutes or so, and it's already browning, which is of course great. Which basically means that it takes nowhere near 12 to 15 minutes. I've set the timer for 5 minutes at the moment. Gonna have a look at that, see how it goes, and if after 5 minutes not done, then I will of course let you know the final cooking time in the end. Hi, so I sometimes use the time when I'm waiting for something to cook to speak about veganism, or about me and veganism recently. And I think one question that we haven't yet covered is what does it mean to be vegan? What is veganism? And in very layman's terms, I'm no specialist on that sort of matter, but in very layman's terms, it basically means you don't eat any animal products. So that means you can't eat any cheese, you can't eat any eggs or egg products like quiche or something like that. And it's quite tricky actually, because a lot of stuff has egg or milk or dairy products in them without you actually realizing. So it's always a good idea to check the sort of contents. Of course, if you make everything from scratch, it's quite easy to keep track of it, which is brilliant. But if, like me, you use a lot of sort of pre-made products, or stuff that you can make your cooking a lot faster with, then just be careful what's in there. I live in the UK, and it's quite nice here because they have to put allergen information on every bit of food. So usually as a vegan, you just have to look in that area and it will tell you if it has eggs or milk in it. Now, I don't take veganism to the extent that some people do. A lot of people, for example, don't wear leather, and a lot of people, and this is quite a controversial thing, I know, some people don't eat honey. I do eat honey because it doesn't, and I know this is going to cause controversy as well, it doesn't necessarily come from an animal. It's something that animals produce, but you don't necessarily hurt the bees themselves by eating honey, but it very much depends on the beekeeper. A lot of beekeepers sort of take more honey away from the bees than they should. They replace it with sugar in the beehives, because essentially that's all the bees need, is something sugary to raise their young. But some beekeepers are actually quite nice about it, and they only take the excess amount, but then who's to judge what's the excess amount? I understand the argument, and it's different for everybody, but I do eat honey, and I wear leather. Not, I don't go out in particular to buy stuff with leather in it just because, I want to hurt those animals. It's not something that I consider being part of vegan. But a lot of people do, and I have a lot of respect for that, of course. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do with these blogs. It's just I want to show how easy it can be in everyday life to be vegan. So yeah, that's me. So I don't eat dairy or eggs or fish or anything like that anymore. I know I did when I started this, but I've now gone back to being completely vegan. I'm also going to stop drinking coffee very soon and any forms of caffeine. So there's going to be a lot of headaches involved, but I'm sure you'll find out about that in a later blog. And there we are. That's my little Pitta pizza. There, it's turned out really well. The rocket shrivels up a little bit, but that's okay because it's really only there to give that little bit of spicy flavor. I'm gonna have some of my beloved Blue Diamond almond chocolate milk there, and with the pita you can just put a little bit of basil. If you have dried basil, that's fine. If not, a little fresh basil will of course do fine as well. It just gives it a bit more of that sort of Italian feeling, I guess. And yeah. That is it for today. Really great little dinner trick there, and final cooking time was actually 8 minutes altogether, so not too bad at all for a quick dinner, and it's really healthy as well, of course. Yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye. I just had to come back because this is actually legendary, so really yummy. Please make it at home because it's so good. I don't usually come back after the recipe, but this is really good. So cheers to Pitta Pizza.